The flight deck of the USS Gerald R screams with the concentrated fury of 1,000 lightning strikes. It is a primal metallic howl that begins in the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System. At 1325 Zulu, that howl is a constant. The Persian Gulf is no longer a sea lane, it is a graveyard of failed intentions. 400 massive cargo ships are currently dead in the water off the coast of Oman. The sky over Doha, Qatar is torn apart by a $20 billion disaster. The Ras Liffeyan LNG facility has been reduced to a pillar of fire that can be seen from low Earth orbit. In the hours since the impact, global oil prices teleported, surging 35% as the world's energy markets suffered a collective heart attack. There is no time for the slow grind of traditional diplomacy. This is a 22-nation surgical intervention designed to restore the flow of the world's lifeblood. On March 19th, the fiction of neutrality evaporated in the heat of the Qatari explosions. The United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and Australia have fused their sensor data into a single unified American-led command architecture. Two massive carrier strike groups led by the USS Gerald R. and a Nimitz-class carrier have taken up stations at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz. They are joined by an armada of Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers and international frigates, creating a wall of Aegis-equipped steel that effectively extends the American border to the very edge of Iranian territorial waters. The logic is clinical. If the artery of the world is blocked, the world will use a collective scalpel to clear it. The ultimatum delivered to Tehran was a notification of arrival. Japan, a nation that draws 90% of its crude from these waters, has broken decades of naval tradition to put its holes in the line of fire. Their Izumo-class destroyers are now integrated into the American strike group, providing a layer of air defense that makes the strait one of the most heavily defended patches of sky in human history. By the time the third U.S. carrier group began its transit, supported by 2,500 combat-ready Marines on an amphibious assault ship, the tactical equation had already shifted. We spend billions keeping these sea lanes open so that energy prices stay manageable for American families. Do you think that investment is worth it? Comment below. We read everyone. The first kinetic movement happens in the dark, pressurized silence beneath the waves. The strait is infested with smart mines, devices capable of distinguishing the acoustic signature of a civilian tanker from a military frigate. To clear them, the coalition deploys the nerve endings of the kill web. Unmanned underwater vehicles slide off the backs of literal combat ships, their side-scan sonars painting the floor of the strait in high-definition 3D. They move with the predatory grace of mechanical sharks. When a mine is identified, the response is immediate and violent. Specialized helicopters, the MH-60 Seahawk, hover over the coordinates, deploying Archerfish neutralization charges. These are small, remote-controlled lethality packages that swim to the mine and detonate. The result is a muffled thud that sends a plume of whitewater 100 feet into the air, turning a $50,000 threat into a cloud of useless silt and scrap metal. As the mines are neutralized, the tankers begin to move, but they are boxed in by a wall of high-tech protection. Each tanker is surrounded by 4 destroyers in a formation designed to absorb and deflect any incoming threat. On the bridge of an Arleigh-Burke-class destroyer, the tactical action officer watches a screen populated by hundreds of green and red icons. The red icons move fast. These are the Iranian Revolutionary Guard fast boats, small high-speed craft armed with rocket launchers and heavy machine guns. They attempt a saturation attack, swarming from the jagged coves of the Iranian coastline like hornets. The Mark 45 5-inch gun on the destroyer's bow slews at speeds that seem impossible for a piece of heavy machinery weighing 15 tons. It fires with a rhythmic bone shaking. These are proximity-fused air-burst rounds. Simultaneously, AGM-114 Hellfire missiles launched from hovering MH-60R helicopters streak downward at 1,000 miles per hour. A Hellfire is a precision instrument. It enters through the windshield. Within 6 minutes of the first swarm attempt, 12 fast boats are nothing but burning oil slicks. The kill web has assigned a unique weapon to every single threat in real time, removing the bottleneck of human decision-making and replacing it with the cold efficiency of an automated executioner. Below the surface, the hunt for the Gaudier-class mini-subs is equally relentless. These subs are small, the size of a school bus, and are designed to hide in the acoustic clutter of the Strait's thermal layers. But the coalition has seeded the water with a mesh of sonar buoys, floating sensors that create a digital web of sound. When a Gaudier moves, it disturbs the mesh. An Aegis destroyer 40 miles away receives the telemetry. It launches an RUM-139 vertical launch anti-submarine rocket. The rocket erupts from the VLS cell, screams into the sky, travels to the sub's last known position, and drops a Mark 54 torpedo into the water via parachute. The Mark 54 is a marvel of engineering. Once it hits the water, its own active sonar wakes up, finds the mini-sub, and begins a high-speed terminal run. The Iranian sub-crews never see the torpedo coming. They only hear the pinging of the seeker head seconds before their hull collapses under the pressure of the explosion. While the surface fleet clears the water, the sky belongs to the kill web's eyes. High above the reach of any Iranian man-portable air defense system, the RQ-4 Global Hawk and the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye act as the conductors of the kinetic orchestra. The E-2D Advanced Hawkeye is the most dangerous aircraft in the sky. Its APSY-P19 radar is an all-seeing eye that can detect a target the size of a golf ball from hundreds of miles away. It sees the Iranian Noor and Qatari anti-ship missile batteries long before they can even power up their own targeting sensors. In the kill web, the E-2D directs. It can hand off a target to a missile launched by a ship that hasn't even turned its own radar on. The conductor gives the signal, and the scalpels are released from the carrier decks. F-35C Lightning. 2 stealth fighters fly into the heart of the Iranian defense network. To the Iranian radar operators on the coast, the sky appears perfectly empty. The F-35C has a radar cross-section the size of a marble moving at 700 miles per hour. The pilots don't use their radios. The kill web shares target data through a low probability of intercept data link. The first targets are the nerves of the enemy, the coastal radar towers. The F-35Cs release the AG-88G ARGM. This missile is a beam follower. It doesn't care where the radar is, it only cares that the radar is emitting. If the Iranian operator turns the radar off in a panic, the missile's internal GPS and multimode seeker remember exactly where it was. Impact is simultaneous across 6 sites. The Iranian coastal defense is effectively blinded in less than 60 seconds. With the radars gone, the FA-18E/F Super Hornets arrive heavily laden with GBU-31 JDAM, satellite-guided bombs. These are 2,000-pound hammers of steel and high explosive. They are directed at the hardened drone launch sites nestled in the Zagros Mountains. These sites are built into the rock, designed to survive a conventional attack. But the GBU-31 is not conventional. The pilot releases the bomb from 30,000 feet. The bomb uses its tail fins to steer itself with surgical precision, hitting the reinforced concrete entrance of a drone hangar at a vertical angle of 90 degrees. The explosion causes the entire tunnel structure to pancake, burying the Iranian drone fleet under 1,000 tons of mountain rock. While the jets work the coast, the destroyers in the Gulf contribute their own long-range punch. From the vertical launch system cells of the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, dozens of BGM-109 Tomahawk land attack missiles erupt in a pillar of fire. The Tomahawk is a cruise missile that flies like a low-altitude airplane, hugging the terrain at 550 miles per hour to avoid detection. It is effectively a robotic suicide plane with a 1,000-pound warhead. These missiles are hitting the IRGC's command and control bunkers 200 miles inland. The kill web has determined that to stop the boats in the water, you must eliminate the men in the bunkers who are providing the tactical coordination. Each tomahawk impact is like a kinetic fist punching through drywall. One missile is programmed to hit the front door. The second missile, trailing 10 seconds behind, flies through the hole created by the first to detonate deep inside the facility. In 14 minutes, the Iranian military's ability to coordinate a defense has been vaporized. Back on the coast, the fast boat nests, hardened shelters carved into the limestone cliffs, are targeted by AGM-154 glide bomb submunitions. These weapons release hundreds of armor-piercing submunitions, saturating the shelters and turning the invincible boat fleet into charred, unrecognizable husks of fiberglass and aluminum. The kinetic efficiency of this operation is terrifying. Every move the enemy makes is captured by a satellite, analyzed by an AI-assisted battle manager, and assigned a lethal response before the enemy commander can even finish his sentence. This is the checkmate logic. When you have no correct move and every decision leads to destruction, you have already lost. The USS Gerald R. Ford's deck is a conveyor belt of destruction.